and welcome to Business Inspire. Today we're talking about the women's night market, and in studio with me is Mrs. Indra Chandapal and Ms. Renata Chairperson of the Women and Gender Equality Commission. Now, what would you say inspired the creation of the women's night market?
Okay, so this was born out of an activity that we did in 2022 specifically. 2023, because I forget we're in 2025, where we had an observance of International Rural Women's Day. And at that event was entitled Increasing Women's Participation in Agriculture. And then one of the outcomes of that was the request to have something where women farmers would feature. So they explained that there are farmers markets everywhere, but they tend to include men, and they wanted an event or an activity that was just for women. And so we thought about doing a women's farmers market, and then the following year we did a series of engagements throughout the regions 10 to 6 and 4, and it was further concretized that maybe we should do just a farmers market night thing. And we wanted to be something little different to the regular farmers market. So we thought, let's do a night market. Yeah. And a night market would allow people to talk about themselves, interact with their the buyers and consumers, and also get a chance to network amongst each other. So it's been about a year or so in the planning. One of the organizations that is partnering with us is the WUSC project called Sustainable Agriculture Caribbean. So they're supporting us. In addition to them, we have the Guyana School of Agriculture, the GLDA, which is the Livestock and Development Authority, as well as NARI. So one of the things when GLDA has heard about it, they're like, oh yes, the largest producer of poultry is a woman. We are bringing her. So there you go. So it's people want to be. I think women have been making great contributions to agriculture, but yet they're not in the forefront, or they don't receive as much limelight as the men farmers. So this is an opportunity for them to shine.
And that is so true. We recently started a program here called Women in Agriculture. We've been going around, and you're really seeing women doing a lot when it comes to farming, when it comes to animal husbandry and all of these sorts of things, but you're not seeing them out there.
Right.
But women in agriculture is not anything new, really, because those of us who grew up in the countryside, I grew up in the countryside, and I know women do farming, but they're all small farming, because they had the local markets. So the people will go, they will do their farming, they will rear chickens, some ducks, have eggs, and they will go every day and sell it in the local market. And that was their way of supplementing the income. So it's not anything new. When I think of areas like Mahaika or De Hoop or Cane Grove, all these women, when you try to meet with them, they say, you know what, today's a bad day. So you will say, why is today bad? Because we're tying bora, or we're going into the farm, and we can't do anything because it will take us the whole time.
Yeah.
So you learn over time. But what has happened, that the women were not organized, and nobody was going out and reaching them. So they're there individually doing their little things in this or that community. But with us now going out and reaching them, talking to them, we're showing them that it's better if you can organize yourself, at least meet other farmers. And I remember a CEO telling the farmers in Linden said, well, for example, if you have a problem with your livestock, and you were advised this is the way that you should treat that livestock, or this is a medication you should use, well, share it with your other sisters who have the same problem, right? So I think this is a welcome development, and we would have loved to have it earlier, but nonetheless, better late than never. Here we are, Friday's a day. So we want to say to our viewers there, if you have some time, please come around, pop around and see what's happening there, because we wanted to bring a little difference. And we will learn from this one, and then hopefully it can expand and even done much better.
Now, one of the questions I was going to ask is how this night market is how this market is actually going to be different from other local events that we have, and then it is also happening on a day when we have the traditional Starbrook market.
You wanna- Okay, so this is an experiment. When we had gone to the different regions, I remember Linden, we had about 115 women, and Essequibo, and we had a lot of women. And the fact they yearned for this, they wanted this. We said, give it a try. So we're going to give it a try. What we want, or what we would like to have on show, is not only the raw materials. We want to have, as far as possible, and we spoke to them, the byproducts. So if you have cassava, for example, what are the different things that you can, you can make out of the cassava? So you just don't see a whole set of cassava. If you see the cassava, you want to see the chain. Cassava bread, you want to see everything that cassava is made of the cashew and stuff like that. So when somebody comes to your table, they will see now all the byproducts. We encourage them to do that. Whether it will be done, that's another story, right? But so that is one, and the idea of the farmers meeting each other now, knowing each other, creating that linkage of sharing, that's very important. Because when we concluded Region 10, the call was heard about them coming together as a group. So the CEO basically has been working with them as a group. So now we're taking it to another level. So we're optimistic.
Nice.
In terms of how does this differ from Starbrook, one location? It's at the Humaniana. It starts at 4 o'clock. It gives you a chance. Parking is available. Security will be tight. And it offers a different atmosphere. So I think our ad says come by, shop, lime, and dance.
Yes.
So we'll have some music. You'll be eating such good food, buying such good products that you will want to celebrate by dancing. And it's a different, it's a different time and hopefully a different atmosphere.
Afterward.
And you will be able to, it's Friday afternoon, and the reason why we picked the Friday is because we said, people leave work at 3 o'clock. This is a time where you can come and spend some time doing organic stuff, like buying organic products, having organic drinks, and basically having, I guess, a wholesome time for entertainment. And in doing so, it's a good deed because you're also helping to empower women, but in particular, in this case, women farmers or women in agriculture.
What it is you want patrons to leave with at the end of this event?
Well, of course, we want them to leave with bags of stuff. That's the first thing. But it's the understanding the concept of the women coming together and selling their produce as a group. That is important. And hopefully, not only the patrons, but the farmers themselves, teaching them the techniques, let them understand about organic things, you need to do that. So with the other Nari and them there, they can meet with them and talk to them in the interim while they're doing all of this to share information. Because we would be happy if people more, rather than using all these chemicals, can go organic. If it is possible, they should try to do that.
I think also what people should go around with is that we think of farming and we think of sort of slogging away in the hot sun, hitting some hard mud. But agriculture is a business. And with women in agriculture, we want to step up or showcase more the role that women play in the business of agriculture. So it's not just about producing stuff, it's about selling the stuff, it's about connecting with who your food producers are, etc. One of the things I should say is that earlier this year, because we've been preparing for this for quite some time, is that we had all of the farmers who were going to be at the market participate in a course done by Small Business Bureau, which focused on marketing techniques. So the SAC project is about market linkages for agriculture. And what they said is, you know, people in agriculture need to learn how to market themselves and their products. And so with the help of Small Business Bureau, we're able to do that. All of this goes into increasing the competencies of the women farmers. The goal at the end, you know, when all this is said and done, is that we have empowered a group of women who can go out there, market their products, get their contracts and their buyers, and be able to do this. I'd love to see these women get together in their respective communities, hold their own market day or market night market, and just do it for themselves. Because at the end of the day, the Women and Gender Equality Commission is all about empowering women to do it for themselves.
So we had an experience going to Wickenham, meeting a lot of the women farmers as well there. And there's a particular woman who makes coconut oil. And she makes not only the coconut oil to cook with, but the virgin coconut oil. And they were telling us about pumpkin, that there's so much pumpkin that it's a waste of time to pick it and sell it because of the cost of transportation. And they plow the pumpkin back into the earth. And then we talked to her again, and then she said, there's so much mangoes. And I said, mangoes? Said, nobody wants mangoes. But I said, I just bought 8 mangoes for $1,000 in the city. You all have to know how to sell these things. If a lot of you get together, go to some of the supermarkets and talk to them and say to them, we have these mangoes, you know, we can bring every month or every week or depending on how it becomes available. Will you buy it from us? And they can work together as a group to hire a truck and bring it down. And it's a shame that they are spending their time and money to do this, and then because of the distance and transportation, they're not making anything out of it. So we're hoping this will give them the exposure to see that you can do things differently and it can become successful.
What role do you believe women farmers and agro-processors play in shaping Guyana's economy?
In each community, the backbone of the community are women. And women in agriculture means that they're the backbone of agriculture. Agriculture in Guyana's context contributes greatly to our position in terms of food security. And you recall an article that came out a few months ago, I think, which says that Guyana is the only country to be food secure. Yeah. So women play a great role in that, in achieving that status. What we're saying through this project is not only do you need to play the role, but you need to earn from that role as well. It's wonderful that women are in agriculture, it's a family business, and they don't see themselves as being a critical cog in that machine. And we're here to say that you are. It's time for you to take your rightful place, and it's time for you to shine. I think that in terms of agriculture, it's a large part of our economy. We are supposed to be the food basket of the Caribbean, and I dare say we can do that role easily. And women are critical to that, to achieving that status.
And agriculture for us has sustained this economy forever. We all grew up and talking about agriculture. And not because we found oil means that we should forget, because oil, one day it will dry up, but we have the land, we have water. And water is something that in many parts of the world people don't have access to so much fresh water like what we have here. So with the land, with the fresh water, you got, and we have been doing it for a long time, why should we not continue and to develop it? Because I recall a discussion we had many years ago in which when you talk to the young people what they would like to do when they grow up, and nobody talks about being a farmer. And I remember at university somebody said, well, a farmer means that you will have dirty clothes on, you have to walk in mud, you're bleaching yourself in the sun. And I said, you have to make agriculture sexy. It don't have to be that way. And we have seen over time how things have changed. People are doing drone technology, all kinds of things. The way they water their plants, it is changing. So that is the way Guyana will have to go if we do not want to lag behind. We have to use all the technologies that is available, teach the young people, especially those who may not be able to, let us say, have their first degree, second degree, but they will be good with their hands and do things. We have to help them in that regard, to see that if you do this agriculture work properly, you can live well, you know?
So the other role that women play in agriculture is that we've got a new economy, and the new economy is bringing new people into our into the country, and they're bringing new sorts of demands or requests for products. So one young lady who's coming to the market on Friday, she does microgreens. Now, microgreens is something I think 10 years ago nobody knew about it, and certainly any farmer would, they're like, what is that? So it just goes to show that we are responding to the new demands, and women in particular are taking that up. I mean, there's a woman, she's the same woman actually, who does mushrooms. We have new people who are bringing new products like broccoli, potatoes, garlic, cauliflower.
A lot of cilantro, parsley.
So all of these different herbs are coming onto the market, and a lot of them are being produced by women. And so we can't minimize the contribution that women make.
What is the feeling like when you go around the country and you see especially young women? Because based on 2 of the interviews I did, one, an older woman, she said that young people weren't interested in agriculture. And then there was the younger woman who said that she's 43 now. 14 years ago she started in agriculture. And persons didn't pay attention to her because they didn't see her as being serious. But then she's been able to help her husband, build their house, support their family, and so on. What is that feeling like when you see young people, embrace agriculture and look at it as a career rather than, a side hustle or something?
Right. So there's a dynamic woman who comes from Sanford in Berbice, and when she talks about her farm, you yourself want to get into farming, right? She produces so many things. And she's very innovative in how she does things. For instance, she has goats, I think, or chickens, and she has a vegetable patch, and she does pest control using the animals to do pest control. She rears bees. She makes soap. She says, I make my money doing what I do on my farm. And she would encourage anybody to do it. She says, as long as you can conceive it, you could do it. And you're not restricted to like one product or whatever. Things exist within an ecosystem. And so she has her animals, I think it's goats and chickens. She does the bees for pollination. She has her fruit trees. She has her cash crops. And she's making it work.
But I want to come back to the question you just asked. You see, you have to understand that's a whole socialization process that we have all gone through. If you tell somebody you're a farmer, they look down on you. And as if you have no ambition. Most people wanted to gravitate to civil service job because you're in an environment where you dress properly, you speak properly, and all of that. And if you say to them, well, I want to do farming, you don't have no ambition. Farming? You like wear all them dirty clothes, you know what I mean? The way they look down on it. And for the longest while, agriculture has been looked as if people without brains have to do it. But now they understand that, I mean, it's an economy by itself, that if you manage it properly, if you know all the things that go in planting, all the techniques, then, you know, you can make it profitable. Yeah. Like how Renata says, you know, this lady from Sanford, right?
Sanford, Chanel.
But I'll tell you this, where we grew up, we had an acre land And in that acre, we had half of it was rice. We had cows, we had sheep, we had ducks, and we had our kitchen garden. Because in those days, living in a sugar estate, everybody goes out to work in the fields. But how you think they survive? By doing these things. So it supplement their income, and they can live a little better off than if they had nothing. So it's how the narrative that we sell to people, and what people were told, and you know, as we say, over time, this is how it has been seen. But with the advent of technology and the fact that you can see and you're learning so much, people, their vision and their will change about agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this a one-time initiative, or is something that you're going to continue?
We're hoping to continue. But we are observing Rural Women's Day every year, and as was stated before by CEO, that we are changing the format. We're not sticking with the way, because if you do something now when you realize it's not working, you have to change it and try to get something that is working. So,
Yeah, so
a work in progress.
Yeah, so the other thing too is one of the things that we are looking at is the empowerment of women. So for the Commission, we've done this. It's possible that we could do it on an annual basis. But what is, I guess, more desirable would be for women to see this as an example and to be able to replicate it in their communities. So the idea is to work with groups of women farmers so that they can get this done. Because one of the farmers says, you know what, we need it on a monthly basis. And that's a great idea. So we're going to work with those women to get that done. So it may not be a monthly basis in the same community, but certainly we can have a women's farmers market every month in a different community.
For persons who may want to stay connected and to know what else the Commission has planned, how can they get that?
We are located, first of all, in the Rights Commission building at Peter Rose and Irish Street. Most people know it as the ERC place. We have a Facebook page, and we certainly share the information that about the activities we are going to do and what we have done on that page. We also have our website. And certainly we are, you can call the office. Our telephone number is 231-5276, or you send us an email at wgc.gov.gy. So it's office@wgec.gov.gy. Pick up the phone, call us. What are you doing? We also have we have a volunteer program. It's called the Advocates, where we I don't want to say educate, but I think we expose people to what human rights is, but in particular the human rights that are the focus of the Women and Gender Equality Commission. And they have a meeting, we have a group, and we have meetings and training sessions. So I think the next training session we're supposed to have is on sexual exploitation, SEA, SEAA, sexual exploitation, abuse, and something else that's going to be done. Well, we've done several training sessions with them. So the idea is to make sure that people are more aware of their human rights and what they can do to ensure that human rights are upheld.
And most of them are young women. That's very important, because we realize that we have a responsibility to the young people as well, because as we get older, we need to pass the torch on. And don't wait too late. Bring them on board to help you do the work. So if there's anybody out there who would like to be part of our Advocate program, please, you can contact us and become part of it.
All right.
And not only women, excuse me, boys as well.
Yes, because we are Gender Equality Commission. But yeah, we are doing that. We actually have a couple of events coming up. So after the night market, we're going to be observing International Men's Day, and that is happening on the 19th. On the 20th, we do our conference on CEDAW, which is the Convention for the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, and that happens on the 20th. So that's an annual thing. This is our 4th year of doing that. This is our 2nd year of actually observing International Men's Day in a formal manner.
Oh.
So all the men are invited to International Men's Day, and we can discuss things, pertaining to men and the achievement of gender equality.
And probably we want to use this opportunity to ask you whether you can promote that event on your program, so that we really want to get men involved in the discourse. And even though we are, well, you see, a lot of people don't understand when we talk about gender, we mean men and women and whoever else.
Mhm.
So we want more men to become aware of the role they have to play, especially from the premise that more and more women are coming out, getting involved, standing up, speaking out, going out there, having an education, having a job.
Yeah.
They're no longer as dependent.
Mhm.
So the roles now between men and women, while they're basically the same, it's a mutual respect that must go into the relationship,
Yeah.
and shared responsibility. So we have to talk about that as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I would love to have. We would love to have you back to have those discussions on the various initiatives that you have on a regular basis.
Okay, my CEO would be interested.
Renata, I don't want to take you up on it too.
For sure. I still got to hold you to doing the
Yeah.
some promotion on the Red Shoe project,
Mhm.
and certainly we'd like to come back and talk about that, because I think the incidence of violence in Guyana is pretty high, and a lot of people feel, I guess, impotent
Yeah.
as to what they could do. One of the things that we can do, at least, is to remember those who are no longer with us because of that, and hopefully that inspires us to be more vigilant or more proactive
Yeah.
in the prevention of gender-based violence.
And it's very important.
Mhm.
Now, I know that we're seeing lots of young women. We're seeing people sometimes, victim blaming and these sorts of things. So there needs to be, I guess, a whole education campaign on how we can, help women, and how we can also help men who are most times the perpetrators
Right.
of those violence.
And this is one reason why we can't exclude men from the conversation, because as women we look at things one way, they look at things a different
Yeah.
way, and it's good that
To know what their
if we know
feelings.
what they're thinking, then we can better respond
Yeah.
Mhm.
to it.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And for those of you who are looking at this program, I will encourage you to go to the Umanayana on Friday from 4 to 10 to see, what the women have to offer and how you can support and, take something with you.
Take a
Come.
bag.
Yes. Take a
Shop,
bag.
eat, lime, and dance.
Yeah.
Okay.